Americans cannot afford to keep this up very much longer, and it's going to for sure affect all 50 states. Now, at this point, experts are saying that these states are going to be directly affected first. All right. So first, we got California, we've got Oregon, Illinois, Connecticut, New Jersey, Maryland, and Vermont. So these are just the first states. All right. Now, the fear is that it will continue to spread out throughout all 50 states. And not just that, but there's also the chance that Americans finally push back, which is really scary. And it's also worth noting that Congress is also looking at the situation. At this point, a bill has already been set into motion. The question is, will it be enough?
A bipartisan border deal is now finalized. Here's the big question, though. Will former President Trump push Republican senators to kill the deal? NBC's Gary Grumbach has the latest from Capitol Hill. Gary, welcome. We have Senator Chris Murphy, who says they are finalizing this, but does Trump really have the power to kill it?
Well, Donald Trump will certainly like to think so, and it's another reminder of just his grip on the Republican members of Congress in this city. And we saw just this morning on the Sunday shows, Senator Rick Scott and Congressman Michael McCaul saying, in fact, they don't need Congress at all to do anything about the border deal because President Biden, they think, should do it all today by executive order. So they're trying to take Congress completely out of this. Senator James Lankford, on the other hand, he's been the Republican negotiator that's been working on this for 4 or 5 months now and is now very, very close to getting the text together, had put up some of the headlines this morning of what this bill and what this deal may look like. It includes an increased asylum officers, increases detention beds, it ends catch and release, and it increases deportation flights.
That's right. They are getting closer and closer to a border deal. But there are some lawmakers that are questioning the president, one of which is Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. Now, according to Ron DeSantis, this entire border deal with Congress, it's more of a joke, especially as he says that the president has the power and the authority to close the border as he wishes right now. Listen to this.
This border deal is a farce. Joe Biden already has the authority to shut the border down. He could declare it a national emergency. He could stop the invasion cold if he wanted to. He does not want to. He wants to let people in, and we know that there are people from all over the world that have come in illegally. We know from hostile countries. We know it's weakened the United States. It's also destroying this nation's sovereignty. Now, this so-called deal purports to give him tools so that he could actually close the border. The reality is it's green lighting up to 5,000 illegals every single day. That's 1.8 million plus over the course of a year, which...
Now, what does he mean with that number? 5,000 illegals a day? Well, if encounters go past 5,000 a day, then they will be forced to close the borders. Now, what DeSantis is saying is that all the Biden administration has to do is to kind of let in less than that number and stop for the day, which means that the borders will be kept open. Now, he's also alluding to the fact that the president signed a deal very early into his presidency to reverse immigration policies that were from the previous administration or those under the Trump administration. So the governor is basically questioning why Trump was able to do it back then, but now President Joe Biden seems to be powerless without the approval of Congress. What do you guys think about this? Now, we also have to understand that both parties want to make a statement here, and it is in their nature to try and make themselves look better, especially at the expense of the other, right? This is just how it works. It's a competition. Democrats versus Republicans, Biden versus Trump, you know the deal. So, but there is, however, a huge issue that many are missing with this whole border crisis. And this is the fact that it's probably going to be going way beyond Texas, guys. Look at this. An opinion piece from Texas outlined that these people are coming through the borders. They aren't necessarily looking to stay in the state. Why? Well, it's because their goal is for many of them to live and work in the United States. You see, the minimum wage in Texas is $7.25. Not a lot if you think about the cost of living right here in the country, right? Now, check out this map. So this map, it shows how states perceive immigration at the moment. And as you can see, the states that I mentioned a second ago, California, Oregon, Washington, Colorado, Illinois, New Jersey, Connecticut, Maryland, and Vermont, right? All of these states are open to immigration. And basically, these are the places where some of these people are likely planning to go after entering through the state of Texas, right? So this has raised a lot of worry among Americans, worry that has concerned citizens now going out and standing up for the United States.
The organizers are describing it as the Take Our Border Back convoy, and they expect hundreds of people to be part of this. It's all starting here at this parking lot here in Norfolk, Virginia, in just about 2 hours. And like I I said, they expect hundreds of people to be part of this as they get set to travel across the country, all to put the focus on the ongoing border crisis. So after meeting up here in Virginia later this morning, this group plans to make multiple stops, heading to Jacksonville, Florida, then Louisiana, then to some of the hot spots regarding migrant crossings, including Eagle Pass, Texas, Yuma, Arizona, and San Ysidro, California.
Now, anything can happen at this point, especially as we expect some, not all of them, but some of these people to be a little bit overzealous, especially as they may feel as if the country is in danger, if you know what I mean. But if we go with what the president is going to do with the border deal, it kind of looks as if the convoy won't be needed. Why? Because President Joe Biden said himself that if the deal goes through and he's given the authority as dictated in the text, then, well, he's willing to use this authority the very same day that he signs the bill into law. This is what he's saying. But it is worth noting here that the president specifically said that he will only close the borders if and when they are overwhelmed with people trying to come in. So the bill is particularly important to the president, given that it includes further aid to the Ukraine, something that he has pushed for in Congress. However, House Speaker Mike Johnson is already very pessimistic about the chances of this bill actually getting through, and even called the deal dead on arrival, which means basically that they're going to force things back to the drawing board.
Turning now to border policy negotiations in Congress. Republican House Speaker Mike Johnson sent this letter to his GOP colleagues Friday, warning legislation coming out of the Democratic-controlled Senate, if reports are to be believed, would be, quote, dead on arrival when it gets to the House. Senate lawmakers have spent weeks negotiating key policy changes at the border. The proposal would also include billions in aid for Ukraine and Israel. CBS News congressional correspondent Scott McFarland joins us now. So, Scott, what is the main sticking point here?
This feels so much, Catherine, like a salesman trying to close a deal with a very fickle customer.
Oh, no.
The sticking point remains parole, this administrative ability to let people into the country unilaterally without going through traditional systems. And another sticking point, as it always is, Catherine, is money. Somebody's going to have to pay a lot of money to change some of the policies they're proposing here, to make more restrictive asylum programs, to expand deportation and detention, and potentially to shut off migrant crossings when there's a border spike. All of these things may not sound expensive, but everything can be expensive. And Congress has been completely inept this year in figuring out how to spend money, which is why there have been 3 near government shutdowns. But here's the thing, talking with sources tonight. Well, the Democrats who are in favor of this and the Republicans championing it, and it's a pretty wide political spectrum there, realize they're running out of time. They've got to close this deal. The closer they get, Catherine, to the election, the harder it is to make a sell, with Donald Trump dunking on this plan and his many, many ardent supporters in the House and Senate willing to follow his lead, walking in the other direction.
Now, I'm not sure where it goes from here, given that there's still so many questions to be answered, But rest assured, guys, I'm going to be here with you guys every step of the way, every single day, to try and inform you guys about what's really going on around us. Now, before I go, I just want to thank you guys so much for hitting the like button. Thank you for sharing these videos. It means the world to me. And I'm going to see you guys on the next one. Be safe.